Hello my good friends, this is Chaos Angel here, also known as Lord Omni, and I'm back at it again with another flippin' reaction and slash discussion video. Now, I did point out a couple of hours ago that I was pretty much only going to be looking at the other jobs on my own time, but after thinking about it a little bit, after getting my errands done, getting me a fresh cut, all that good jazz, yada yada yada, I think we gotta go ahead and discuss about the tanks real quick. So we're gonna go ahead and look at that, and then I'm gonna discuss about a little bit of some stuff and so on and so forth, because I did point out in my previous video that the leaks as far as the tanks and the healers that were brought out, I did see some of those beforehand when it came to it. So in the long run, that's one of the other reasons why I wasn't really going to be taking a look at the I wasn't exactly going to be doing a reaction on those per se when it came to it, because it's like I already know what's up and I was going to be taking a look at it on my own time. But I think I really got to put in my thoughts on some jobs real quick when it comes to the tanks, because I really need to see, like, I need to visually see what is going on, and I think it's pretty much best that I go ahead and do a reaction slash discussion with these 4 jobs real quick, and then I'll be looking at all the other jobs as far as Dragoon, Monk, and so on and so forth, Dancer, and Machinist on my own. And the same be said for White Mage and Scholar. I don't really need to take a look at those. But for the time being, we're going to be taking a look at the tanks and then seeing what the hell is going on here and going from there. So let's go ahead and get at the shit. I honestly have no idea how I'm going to feel about the majority of some of these. One job in particular that I am definitely going to be having some words about real quick, but we're just going to go ahead and start it out. Actually, you know what, give me just a second. Need to give me some water. All right, Aqua up, Aqua boogie, all that good nonsense. Let's go ahead and get into this shit, shall we?
The arch enemy of benediction. It was released in Shadowbringers and it was an insta hit.
What did he just say?
And Endwalker. Well, for starters, released in the arch enemy of benediction. It was released in Shadowbringers and it was an insta hit. But how will it fare in Endwalker? Well, for starters, the job gear looks like Squall, and that's already winning in my book. But first, I have a disclaimer. I was sponsored by Square Enix to try out this development build of Endwalker.
Gear doesn't look too shabby.
Everything that you see here is subject to significant changes.
Yep.
Not worry about.
We're already familiar with all of that.
Let's take a look. First off, you've got 3 cartridges now.
Hold on. I need to check something real quick. Alright.
First off, you've got 3 cartridges now, and Bloodfest will fill up all 3, and there's a good reason for that. You have a 2 cartridge spender in that of Double Down, a 1200 potent.
Yeah, that is the one thing that fucking gets me, is that this shit is 1200 potency for like every minute. Every minute, and it's only freaking 20% less on all the other enemies. As a matter of fact, let me see exactly how much damage that is when it comes to all of the other enemies that they will be taking right after that. Let me see here. Freaking 1200 times 0.20, and then minus that. That's still 960 potency. What the fuck? That's still 960 potency for all other enemies. Bruh, if there's one thing that I can only imagine is going to be changing when freaking Endwalker hits, it's that. Like, oh shit. A tank having freaking AoE damage like that every minute? I don't know, man. I don't know if that's gonna last. I mean, it's the only one that they have that does that much damage, but shit. And I think that's actually doing a lot more damage. Well, technically speaking, it's not really doing a lot more damage than that of Sam. in the long run. Sam is pretty much on a caliber of its own, considering that it does essentially two 1200 actual attacks with Ogi Namikiri. Literally the first hit when you chitin it, it literally does freaking 1200. So it's like you got 1200 in every two 1200s every 2 minutes. That's freaking literally 2400 every 2 minutes. So it's like, and then not to mention the fact it's an AoE as well. So it's just like, bruh. Still, gotta give credit where credit is due when it comes to freaking Gunbreaker. Holy shit.
Potency AoE. It's on a 1 minute cooldown, so you better make sure you have 2 cartridges saved up for it. Heart of Stone gets upgraded to Heart of Corundum, which adds a 15% damage mitigation for 4 seconds and a buff that will heal that person if their HP drops below 50% or the timer wears off. Pretty cool. Continuation.
It's essentially an XCOG.
Whenever you use Burst Strike, you will become ready to blast. Changing continuation button into hyper. Changing
there it is
into hyper velocity, a new attack. OGCD
200. Okay.
And the Gnashing Fane combo. Gnashing Fane is now an all-in-one button. It will change into Savage Claw and Wicked Talon as you go through the combo and use continuations. Very nice for freeing up space on your hotbar. Also, Aurora now has charges. You can hold 2 of them. And actually, believe it or not, that's it. Gunbreaker was already built like a tank. And it didn't need any more changes. It feels buttery smooth, and that's a good thing. Thank you so much for watching, and all of my videos on the Endwalker job changes are out now, so check out the playlist in the link in the description below to watch the next one. Okay, bye.
That's a pretty badass looking skill, I'm not gonna lie. Like, that really is a pretty badass looking skill. Okay, yeah. It's not really surprising that Gunbreaker didn't really get many changes when it comes to it, so it's like I'm not too surprised by this. But it's fairly interesting that they got like some pretty neat additions to their skills. Heart of Corundum, being essentially an XCOG when you put it on an ally and so on and so forth, is a nice addition. It's essentially freaking TBN, but it heals. It doesn't exactly proc anything, but it heals. And that's pretty much the same for like all the other tanks, and I'm going to be getting into that real quick. First, we're going to take a look at Warrior.
Warrior smash, and it smashed good.
Yes, it does. In many ways. LOL.
Warrior smash, and it smashed good. I think if you like playing Warrior, you're gonna still like playing Warrior. And if you stopped playing Warrior before, well, maybe all of the self-healing that it got will bring you back. But first, I have a disclaimer.
Yep.
We're sponsored by Square Enix to try out the changes. Would not worry about them. Firstly, and most importantly, Onslaught has 3 charges now. Warrior was the first tank to ever get a gap.
Okay, wait. Hold on. Hold that back. Wait a second. What did you just say?
Onslaught has 3 charges now. Warrior was the first tank to ever get a gap closer, and so it is...
Larry. Bruh. Larry. Bruh. Dude. You've been playing freaking Final Fantasy 14. You literally have a video talking about all of the past things that were changed ever since back then. Come on, bro. You should know that Dark Knight was actually the first ever job to introduce gap closers on tanks. And pretty much made gap closers a norm for pretty much the majority of jobs. Considering that Dark Knight introduced gap closers for tanks, and it wasn't until Stormblood that friggin' Warrior got a gap closer. Come on, Larry. Come on. I'm not gonna rag him too much, but it's just like, come on. Anyway.
Has 3 charges now. Warrior was the first
I-
tank
I-
to ever
I
get a
still-
gap closer, and so it is asserting its dominance over the other tanks by learning how to do more of them faster. Some of its damage stuff changed, like the Storm's Eye damage buff. It's now called Surging Tempest.
Yep.
I don't
Which
know
is
why.
interesting.
Warrior got the same stack treatment as the other tanks. You'll get 3 stacks of inner release, which will allow you to use beast gauge actions for free.
That move is fucking crazy, and it does 17k. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. The one thing about Onslaught and pretty much the gap closers in general is that I don't know whether or not if I'm too much of a fan of gap closers doing damage anymore. Mainly because of the fact that we use them like for uptime so much and trying to like use as much damage as possible, and with Warrior having 3, I don't know, I feel it's like a little bit unhealthy. Now granted, I have always asked if we can have 3 gap closers for all tanks. Unfortunately that didn't really happen, but for a Warrior, after realizing the fact that Warrior is the one that gets the 3 stacks and it no longer goes on beast gauge and so on and so forth, I don't know. After I look back on this, it kind of just seems ridiculous. It just seems superfluous, to be perfectly honest. Because, like, now you're going to mostly be using that for the damage. I mean, there will be some moments where you'll be using it to actually get back to the enemy whenever there's like an AoE or something of that nature, a point blank AoE that you need to get away from, and then you freaking use your range skill and then a freaking get close to the boss. All that good nonsense, but it's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
And also guarantee that all of them are crit direct hits, of course. And that too will extend your Surging Tempest damage buff. Now for all the healing stuff. Shake It Off will now heal, in addition to the shield that it gives, for 300 potency.
Do I
Nascent
ever-
Flash will now also
Do I even remember seeing that in the leaks? Did I ever even remember talking about that? Hold on. Let me see here. Creates a barrier around self and so on and so forth. Yeah. Restores own HP and the HP of nearby enemy, nearby party members by 300 cure potency. That's not too shabby. That is definitely not too shabby. Not exactly in the same vein of like a regular cure, but hey, it's still better than nothing.
in addition to the shield that it gives, for 300 potency. Nascent Flash will now also add a 10% damage mitigation for 4 seconds and a 400 potency shield. Warrior is a scholar now, and Equilibrium will now give yourself a 200 potency regen. And Raw Intuition is now a 10% damage mitigation, but it will also restore HP for each weapon skill that you land at 400 freaking potency. And then at level
I think that 10% has always been there. But as far as like the extra like heal that you get from literally using your skills, that right there is fucking ridiculous. And it's like, if I remember correctly, Raw Intuition is still at level 56. So it's just like, bruh, that is pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy that you get that. I don't really know whether or not if that is technically speaking, if that is like the heal is from a trait, to be perfectly honest. I'm not 100% sure whether or not if that's under a trait. But all I can say is that if it's like that automatically when it comes to Raw Intuition is going to be fucking like sick in lower levels, freaking 60, 70, and then of course to 80.
Will also restore HP for each weapon skill that you land at 400.
I completely forgot that his Discord keeps on going off.
It becomes Blood Wedding. Yeah, Blood Wedding, and it adds a 400 potency shield. Man, what?
Oh wait, hold on a second. Wait a minute. Hold up. Did I just see that correctly?
Yeah, Blood Wedding, and it adds a 400 potency shield.
Did it just look like Primal Ren went to the freaking dummy a little bit? Hold on. I don't even remember. Give me just a second. Hold up. Let me see here. Primal Ren. Primal Ren has a range of freaking 20 yalms? It is a fucking gap closer? How did I not fucking see that from the very beginning? How am I just realizing this now? Yo, what the fuck?
Man, what the? Warrior is just a healer. There's a new AoE version of Upheaval called Orogeny, and neither of them cost Beast Gauge anymore, so they were just a 30-second cooldown off global now. And finally, at level 90, you get Primal Rend. This is a guaranteed crit direct hit AoE at 700 frickin' potency. It can only be executed after using inner release, but it does not consume your inner release stacks. So that's good. And it's a gap closer with a 20 Lalafell distance. Yeah, and that'll do it for Warrior. It got so much mitigation and healing.
What the fuck? Now that actually makes that move a lot more crazier than I was expecting. Holy shit, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That is insane. Okay, so the enhanced Shake It Off actually comes in at level 76 from via by trait. And then of course there's all of this stuff at level 80. We don't actually get the enhanced like equilibrium until 84 when it comes to the cure potency, the regen effect essentially, which is going to be interesting. But holy shit, man.
It's crazy. Thank you so much for watching, and all of my videos on the Endwalker job changes are out now, so check out the playlist in the link in the description below to watch the next one. Okay, bye.
Dude, look at that. He's only just a few feet away, but it's just like, that's just fucking crazy. You know what? No. Hold on. I need to fucking see like this in action. I need to see this in action as the actual gap closer. You need to give me a second. Dude, I fucking found it. Holy shit. Hold the fuck up. Hold the fuck up. What the fuck? What the fuck? Dude, what the fuck is that skill? What the fuck is that skill, dude?
30 seconds. You can use it.
Dude, that's fucking... Dude, oh my god. That is fucking crazy. Holy shit. It is so disappointing that it's like, I can't fucking use that whenever I'm like, I don't know, just trying to pull mobs. Like, I have to freaking go into inner release and freaking use my skills and then freaking like make it to the another pool to freaking use that crazy ass nonsense. I cannot believe this shit. That is fucking insane.
It immediately or hold on to it.
Never before. Like, honestly, it actually makes sense now that this is a gap closer because of the fact that you're literally jumping in the air and just like freaking going ham on the enemy. But it's like it just amazes me still that they did that. It amazes me still that they did that. Holy shit. All right. So now we are going to go ahead and go into Paladin, and then last but not least will be Dark Knight, because Dark Knight, it was my main in Heavensward and a little bit in Stormblood, and then of course it was partially my main along with like Samurai and Shadowbringers. So yeah, like I was doing Dark Knight the majority of like the main scenario quests, but when it came to all other forms of like content, extremes and savage, it was mostly just Samurai. But
Paladin, Endwalker Star Holy Boy, I know why you're here. You want to see unlimited blade.
Of course we're going to be making that joke.
Blade works, don't you? Well,
Indeed.
Let me tell you, Paladin got a lot more cool stuff than just that. This cape is one of those things. Seems like it would look really good if you...
Hold on. I keep on doing this. I'm sorry.
If you were to like, you know, like just wear that on the moon. or something. But first, I
Talking
have a
about the
disclaimer.
moon.
I was sponsored by Square Enix to try out this development build of Endwalker, and everything that you see here is subject to significant changes. That includes potencies especially. Since a lot of them change throughout all of the jobs, I would not worry about them. But anyway, let's take a look. Holy Spirit and a Holy Circle will now heal you.
Yeah.
And Divine
Yeah.
Veil will
Yeah. 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 Uh-huh. Yeah. Freaking, and then this 400 cure potency, that's literally a cure. That is literally a cure 1. That's fucking crazy, dude. That's still fucking crazy.
Holy Spirit and a Holy Circle will now heal you. Yeah, and Divine Veil will heal everybody when it procs. Well, not you. You don't get it. And it's not just a little heal. All of them.
I am so ticked off that they still did not change that. I swear, I feel as though there was a great deal, many of individuals who were talking about how trash Divine Veil is because of the fact that you have to proc it, and then not to mention it doesn't go on you. Like, come on now. Freaking every other tank has their AoE shield literally go on them, but yet freaking Paladin can't do that. That's just ridiculous.
Heal to you. Yeah, good thing too, because I think all the sages might forget to heal you besides, you know, their automatic DPS healing. Sheltron has been upgraded to Holy Sheltron.
Holy
It still does
Sheltron.
the blocks, but it's also a 15% damage mitigation and a regen. The regen is called Knight's Benediction. Again, I think Paladin is sick of healers not healing them. Actually, Intervention will also apply a 10% damage mitigation and a regen to your target. So Paladin thinks they could just be the healer 10%.
If I remember correctly, when it
Paladin
comes
is
to
sick of healers
intervention,
not healing them. Actually, Intervention will
let me see here. Increase damage reduction by additional 10% if Rampart or Sentinel are active. So it's like you do not need to have both of them anymore. You can just have one as far as Rampart or Sentinel on intervention in order to give it to the other tank or anyone else for that matter. And then of course the whole entire like Knight's Resolve. This is the one thing that kind of confuses me a little bit because it's like I don't really know whether or not if it's like adding all of this shit on top of each other, because it's like you have the 10% of Rampart. If this is the case, then that means that you have the 10% from Rampart or Sentinel on top of the reduces damage taken by 10% for 4 seconds. And then on top of that, you have the freaking 250 freaking cure potency of I think a regen. It's essentially a regen where it gradually, it gradually restores HP. Dude. Jesus Christ.
also apply a 10% damage mitigation and a regen to your target. So Paladin thinks they could just be the healer instead, you know, do their job for them. Spirits Within has finally been upgraded. You know, we've had it since A Realm Reborn. It's called Expiation, but this time it's also an AoE. Now for a pretty fundamental change. Requiescat is no longer some kind of timer. Instead, it'll give you 5 stacks of Requiescat that can be spent on your magic attacks. This ensures that you will never miss one due to ping or skill speed issues.
Yep.
Also, they will always be instant speed and always increase your magic damage by 100%.
That actually looks pretty fun.
Since you have 5 stacks, you can use 4 of them on Holy Spirits or Holy Circles, and then go into the real reason why we are all here. The new Confiteor combo. You only need 1 Requiescat to use it, but it will eat up all of your stacks if there are more, so don't let it do that. It's a 4-part combo, and all of them replace Confiteor. It's Confiteor into Blade of Faith, into Blade of Truth, into Blade of Valor. The 3 blade attacks will all restore your MP, and Blade of Valor will apply an 80 potency AoE dot. And it doesn't stack with Goring Blade, so do not override it, you know, like I did right there. Oh yeah, and Intervene is now a 20 Lalafell distance instead of 15. Yes, 1 Yam is exactly 1 Lalafell in distance. And that is Paladin. I'm gonna have to give it up to Paladin. They've really come a far way from A Realm Reborn, and I think this is the best iteration yet. What a way to close out the Hydaelyn and Zodiark era. Thank you so much for watching, and all of my videos on the Endwalker job changes are out now, so check out
500
the link in the
MP
description below to watch the next one. Okay, bye.
I swear, I'm gonna be having a lot of fun playing Paladin during the main scenario quests. Like, it's literally the only tank that I'm really thinking about playing the most when it comes to it. And there's a actual reason for that I'm gonna be getting into in a second. There's just one thing I wanted to see real quick. I just don't know why in the world it took me here. And what was it that I was actually trying to take a look at? I completely forgot. I think I was trying to take a look at traits. Yeah, I was trying to take a look at traits. So there's one thing. Oh yeah. The actual healing, and then of course the nice resolve doesn't happen until 82. I figured as much. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. Every single thing else that we pretty much see here, as far as the spirits within, the divine magic, adding the healing effect to Holy Spirit and Holy Circle. I kind of wish that this was like in between 70 to 80, to be perfectly honest. I really wish that trait was between freaking 70 and 80, but it's no big deal. Let's see here. Upgrade spirits within. And then Divine Veil is at 88. Interesting. With the healing effect. Okay. Now, so on to the last tank. And the one that I have wanted to talk about since the time of the leaks. We're about to take a look at exactly in action, what it looks like in action. And then we're going to go ahead and discuss about this real quick.
In Shadowbringers, you know, Dark Knight had its time in the sun, or darkness, maybe, rather. And even though this expansion is called Endwalker, Dark Knight thinks it's actually called Shadowbringers 2. This is its job gear. I think it checks all of the edgy boxes, you know, on account of the fact that boxes have 4 edges. And I like the red tattered crotch cape in particular. But first, I have a disclaimer. I was sponsored by Square Enix to try out this development build of Endwalker, and everything that you see here is subject to significant changes.
That tail part actually is pretty interesting. I'd never even seen that before.
Not worry about that. But anyway, let's take a look.
That's a nice addition, and it actually complements Al Raz.
And most importantly, Dark Knight has a new move, aptly named Shadowbringer. You can be the Shadowbringer. It's a 600 potency.
There's pretty much going to be a meme about like when someone says Shadowbringer, all I can think about is like freaking TFS, like Shadowbringer, the name, the weapon, the title, the skill, or the game. Yes. Oh my god.
With 2 charges, and you get 1 every minute. Not only that, but your Simulacrum also gets the Shadowbringer, so please enjoy. Dark Knight also.
It did like. It did 6,000. And how much do we do?
It's a 600 potency AoE.
13. 12k. And then 13k.
Charges, and you get 1 every minute. Not only that, but your Simulacrum also gets the Shadowbringer, so please enjoy. Dark Knight also got the tank spam attack rework. Delirium is no longer a 10-second duration, but will instead give you 3 stacks of Delirium. And you can spend these stacks on either Bloodspiller or Quietus. Reason it's 3 instead of 5 now is because it's a minute cooldown down from 90 seconds. So Earth is no longer a ground-targeted AoE, but an AoE.
I definitely like that still.
This required an animation change, of course, where you
which is quite possibly the best animation change.
After you use it, it changes into its combo action, Salt and Darkness. Yes, Dark Knight is very salty and edgy. Salt of Darkness will make your Salted Earth pulse for a 500 potency attack, whole bunch of salt. Now, since the other tanks stole Dark Knight's homework when, you know, they all copied the Blackest Night, Dark Knight has 2 of them instead. The new one is called Ablation. It's got 2 charges and can be cast on yourself or a party member for a 10% damage mitigation. And actually, your Simulacrum also gets a new buff. All of its potencies are increased by 300. So you could say It's stronger than you. Here's a nice little thing.
I don't know about
If you
that.
unmend, it'll knock 5 seconds off of your plunge cooldown. Please do not spam.
I didn't know anything about that. Hold on, what?
Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. And that about does it for Dark Knight. I hope you enjoy. Go have fun throwing salt everywhere and being the Shadowbringer. Thank you so much for watching, and all of my videos on the Endwalker job changes are out now, so check out the playlist in the link in the description below to watch the next one. Okay, bye.
I'm not gonna lie, that is a pretty badass looking skill.
In the link in the description below to watch the next one. Okay, bye.
It is essentially a better freaking Flood of Shadow. It's a very badass looking skill. My only problem though, we're gonna go ahead and just end it here. We're pretty much done here now. So my problem here for Dark Knight, as much as the skills look cool and the additions that they added are not bad, I have a little bit of a problem. And that problem stems from the fact that the majority of some of the things that I was really hoping for wasn't exactly added. And then not to mention the fact that Dark Knight is essentially the same. Dark Knight is essentially the same job as it used to be. It's the same job with added skills. And some of those skills could make the feel of the job a little bit different, but it's the overall vibe is most likely not going to be all that vast of a change, to be perfectly honest. It really isn't. Now, first off, Shadowbringer. Appropriate. Very interesting that we didn't get that skill in Shadowbringer, but okay. And then not to mention the fact, Oblation. So, Oblation. There's one problem that I have with Oblation. It's the fact that it only does 10% in terms of mitigation. Now, I understand about the fact of TBN and the fact on how TBN is, you won't exactly be taking much damage. However, when I compare this to that of the other tanks, I can't really freaking give TBN the whole entire like crown of like the cooldowns here, because of the fact of sustain. Now, one thing that I feel that is very effective over anything else is how you're able to sustain yourself. And Dark Knight has practically nothing in terms of sustain in any way, shape, or form. And no, do not tell me freaking Soul Eater as well as freaking shit. What the fuck was it? I'm completely losing my train of thought here. Freaking Abyssal Drain? Yeah. Yeah, no. I'm sorry. It's not enough. It's not enough. Honestly, I really wish that they had freaking made Abyssal Drain a lower cooldown. If not that, gave that charges or something of that nature. Something. Because it's just like, I just wish that the Dark Knight would be able to heal itself a little bit. Because at this point in time, their whole entire explanation of why Dark Knight is not getting any heals is because the TBN is kind of getting old. It is getting fairly old on that excuse when it comes to it. And one of the main reasons as I can think about is the fact that they haven't really been giving Dark Knight that much changes is because of TBN. TBN, and then of course the way on how they made Dark Arts. Like, I just really feel off-put by the lack of innovation when it comes to Dark Knight. Yeah, I really do. And then the whole like copying homework thing that Laryzor was talking about, I mean, it's the same when it comes to freaking Dark Knight copying Warrior. It's literally the same. Some may think that it doesn't feel the same, but it's literally the same. It's literally the same concept where you freaking use some freaking power in order to freaking use a skill multiple times over and over and over again. Either a single target or an AoE. Now, the only difference between freaking Warrior and Dark Knight now is the fact that Warrior actually builds to something. Freaking Warrior builds to a freaking insane looking ass skill. Now, granted, Dark Knight just has a skill that freaking does damage regardless. Like, straight up, and it gets 2 charges of that. And if I remember correctly, if I was to really think about it, considering the fact that Warrior gets a direct crit on Primal Ren, and then of course you have Shadowbringer that has 2 charges and is effectively what, 600 potency, and then what was Warrior's Primal Ren? It was like what, 700 if I remember correctly. I mean 1200 over 700 in terms of damage is definitely not too shabby considering for Dark Knight. It's just that. And then of course there's Salted Earth. I gotta give him credit for the fact that Salted Earth does not have fall off when it comes to AoE situations, so it's like I will give them that. So it's like you got Salted Earth and then you got Shadowbringer, which essentially just deals way more damage in comparison to that of Primal Ren. So I will give them that. On the fact that they gave us those two skills when it comes to it over the fact of freaking Warrior and their Primal Ren. I will give them that. It's just that I just wish that Oblation would be able to do something extra other than the fact that it has 2 charges and all it does is just 10. I don't know. I might just have to freaking try the job out just to see how it feels in level 90 content, because I just only see that instead of defensive, they were primarily focused on offensive. And that out of the gate is literally freaking Dark Knight, and then of course that's also freaking Gunbreaker, to be perfectly honest. It's just purely offensive changes, or more so offensive additions, not really changes, it's more so additions. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. I have mixed feelings, honestly. I just have mixed feelings about my freaking one tank main that I have been playing for the longest time, and it's just like it doesn't really give me the urge to want to play it with what we got right now. But I'm still going to be leveling it, and so that's going to give me a good idea of exactly how it's going to feel. And then like I'll play it here and there whenever it comes to like doing dailies. But other than that, I don't know whether or not if I'm going to be really playing Dark Knight all too much. I mean, I have fucking Reaper, and then the changes, the Samurai looking pretty good. The freaking changes, the Red Mage is looking pretty good. The changes, the Black Mage is so freaking good. Freaking Sage is fun as fuck. And that's probably going to be making me a primary healer now over a freaking tank. Like, I was freaking main tanking for the longest of time, and now I'm going to be switching to freaking healer. Wow. Just wow. Because of the fact that I just don't have, like, any tanks I'm really interested in maining when it comes to doing any other form of content besides main scenario, because I'm only going to be doing freaking main scenario with Paladin, and that's about it. Other than that, any other content, I'm going to be playing various other jobs, unless I'm doing like dailies and I want to mix it up and so on and so forth and going from there. So I finally finished looking over the jobs I wanted to look at, and then of course discussing on the tanks and all that good jazz. So it's like that's all that we have going here. There's really nothing much else. I can only imagine exactly how much time is probably going to take for me to freaking get the majority of these videos done, because this is like literally 2 hours and 40 minutes, probably 2 hours and 45 minutes of editing that I'm going to have to work on. And then this is like my last day off on the week. and it's kind of already nighttime right now, so it's like I don't really know like how soon I'm gonna be getting to these videos, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to get to them and upload them on YouTube as soon as I possibly can. Really got to work on the whole entire uploading bit, but it's like with what I got going on right now, with me working 2 jobs in order to actually like live in my apartment and so on and so forth. Yeah, trying to do as much as I can until the time that I'm able to only have 1 career job and so on and so forth. So it's like this, as far as my YouTube, guys, it's obviously just purely a hobby. I'm gonna try and do as much as I can when it comes to it, but all in all, life takes precedence over what I got going on here when it comes to my YouTube. So I just wanted to point that out, make that disclaimer real quick and whatnot. But I still want to do all of those things when it comes to just this. So it's just like, yeah. Other than that, that's pretty much all I got for you. You'll be seeing these videos hopefully fairly soon, and pretty much going from there. So yeah, very nice day, nice night, nice morning, nice afternoon, all that good nonsense, and I shall catch you in the next videos that come about, and so on and so forth, whenever that may be. Will probably be freaking next month, because next month is going to be a fucking crazy time. I can tell you that much for certain. So deuces, peace out.